Technical difficulty.
Wait, there she is. Go ahead. You are live.
Welcome to our spooky soiree. We have a few friends over here joining us tonight for a pre-Halloween soiree cocktail party. If you notice, I have a little bit of a hoarse voice. It's part of the costume. Just go with that. So I love Halloween. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to let your creative freak flag fly and just get as silly, crazy, elegant, whatever is your wheelhouse, go for it. There's almost nothing wrong that you can do on Halloween, except I don't like super gross stuff, so you won't see any puking pumpkins with guacamole coming out of them. That's fine, but I just prefer to have it be something that has a little bit of style to it. So I made an assortment of food, which I love to do. And I'm going to walk you over here and talk a little bit about this. So I have some barbecue meatballs. Now, full disclosure, I didn't make the meatballs. I grabbed them from Trader Joe's. They're their frozen party meatballs. But this barbecue sauce we picked up at Bacon Fest this year. It's a bourbon bacon barbecue sauce. It's so delicious. Good. The vendor had the bottles of the sauce for sale. I'll put it on my Instagram and the soiree page on Facebook later, the name of the company. Delicious. I also bought some of their barbecue salt that you can rim cocktail glasses with for a Bloody Mary or use on steaks. Delicious. And so I always do veggies and dip. It's very basic, but for the few friends I have that are carb phobic or whatever phobic, which is not very many of you because most of you eat, I like to have something a little healthy. This is a cheesy pull-apart loaf. So it's basically like French onion soup in a piece of bread. It's like caramelized onions and Gruyere, super easy. I've got little baby chicken pot pies. I've got my prosciutto wrapped asparagus. And I like to do a really nice cheese tray. So get an assortment of soft and hard cheeses, as many as you like. And then these grapes were just very fun and Halloween-y looking. The black ones, and these are just little black mission figs, which I find delicious. So I've got like a nice little food spread. And then for dessert, I like to do something a little bit different. For Halloween, I like for guests to be able to make their own treat bags, treat boxes, and take them home with them, especially the parents that come without their kids. They can make up little treat boxes. So for my assortment, I did little baby dipped caramel apples. I got crab apples at Gelson's and dip them in caramel and then put nuts on the bottom. So they're just a bite or two, which is nice. I always liked those big caramel apples, but nobody wants to eat the whole caramel apple. It's like too big and unwieldy. So this is perfect. You just have a bite or two and toss it, and it's like the perfect little sweet bite. And then Rice Krispie treats, because who doesn't like Rice Krispie treats? And then I have some candies and Pockies. And then these are just little pumpkin cream parfaits. I got these little glass containers. It's those French yogurts that I've fallen in love with. They're called Oui, I think they're by Yoplait. And they come in these glass jars. So I eat these yogurts for breakfast and then I save all the jars because they're like wonderful multi-purposing for everything. So this is like pumpkin puree, mascarpone cheese, heavy cream, all whipped up and layered with crushed JoJo's, the holiday JoJo's that Trader Joe's does that are colored for the holiday. And then I found these really fun. So Wilton is a cake decorating company. They have like all sorts of baking supplies. I found these hilarious. They're cupcake toppers, but I'll show you some later that we're using to garnish our cocktails with. These are little tombstones and bones. So somebody very creatively wrote my little tombstones for me, and I love them. I think they're fabulous. So you can get creative and customize with your guest names or be a little silly or whatever you want. And what I like to do for a party is have a couple batched cocktails because it's just too hard when you've got a bunch of people over and someone wants this and someone wants that. So I usually have an assortment of soft drinks that I have readily available for whoever wants to grab. Beer, soda, champagne, because everyone needs that. And then I let everyone DIY this, and then I have the cocktail bar with my batch drinks back up. So I'm going to invite a couple people in and say, go ahead and grab plates and help yourself to the food, because they've been very patiently waiting. Well, before we went live, I'm like, okay, guys, I know you've been here an hour, but nobody's allowed to touch the food until we go live, because otherwise the table's going to look like Angry Jackal's got to it. So they've been very good. So you guys help yourself, grab plates. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Mickey's here.
Oh, look who it is.
Hi.
Surprise, surprise.
Mickey, freshly back from New York. Now, what did you do in New York, Mickey? Tell us.
I participated in the dedication of a theater to a friend of mine, Mark O'Donnell, who's a Tony Award-winning playwright, and he passed away unfortunately a few years ago, but we dedicated a theater in his honor because he left much of his estate to the Actors Fund. So the Actors Fund helped us dedicate this theater to him this week, and it was lovely.
Aww.
And so I got to enjoy New York in the fall, autumn in New York.
Wonderful.
Yes. Treat being from LA.
Yes, exactly. And it was cold towards the end.
Was it?
I was on the plane with 3 jackets.
Yes.
And then I just ripped them off as soon as I landed. So
Nice. And Mickey is like freshly off the plane here last night or whatever and came to join us. So we
Thank
appreciate
you. Yeah.
pushing through the jet lag and coming for cocktails.
My pleasure.
But I have some cocktails that'll, fix up your jet lag.
Okay.
And
wait.
we have Harvey Weinstein here in the back.
You want to give me a massage?
Where's your potted plants?
We left that out on the
I
street.
used the one outside.
Mickey, you're an actress. Are you looking for a role? Harvey here.
yes, that's right. I'm the role of the plaintiff.
And that's part of the fun of Halloween is when I do my Halloween parties, I always say costumes are encouraged but not mandatory, because you never want to make someone feel uncomfortable or put them on the spot if they're just not that person that likes to dress up. But you want people to be able to do it if they want to, so it's always nice to just make that obvious to everybody from the start that it's like, go for it and do whatever you want if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, it's perfectly fine and no one's going to go, oh, you're the one without the costume. So make your guests comfortable. Don't oblige them to do something that's going to make them feel awkward, because the party is just less enjoyable that way. So I always appreciate, Mickey looks elegant every day.
My costume is I'm a 4'10" Asian woman.
Brilliant.
He dresses stunningly always.
It's so
Mickey is
accurate.
always
It's
elegant.
so,
I know.
that's what it's, your attention to detail.
I want to see how you worked the height. Maybe you could have pulled that off because you're a very good actress, but I don't know. That's like almost a foot.
Well, can we dig in?
Okay, yes. You guys dig into the food, and then I'm going to start talking about the first cocktail.
Okay, great.
So I did 3 different cocktails, batch cocktails tonight, based on 3 different styles of booze. So the first one is a very traditional New Orleans cocktail. It's called the Corpse Reviver 2. Now, there's a little bit of controversy, and the Corpse Reviver 1 recipe is a very different cocktail. Most people don't care for it. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you what's in it, but I know that when I tried it, I was like, no, I think I'm not gonna continue drinking this. The Corpse Reviver 2 is a really lovely, slightly citrusy combination of gin, Lillet Blanc, which is that fortified aperitif type thing that I've used in the Parisian Martini and a couple other drinks, lemon juice, something else I'm forgetting at the moment I'll come back to, and a rinse of absinthe. Now, you're not using a whole lot of absinthe. If you're making individual cocktails, you can even use a cocktail atomizer and mist the inside of your glass instead of putting it in the drink. I have actually put it in here because I was batching it. Now, what I like to do with the Corpse Revivers is go ahead and batch it, but it is really more pleasant, freshly shaken. So I'm just gonna take my cocktail shaker and I'm gonna put some ice in. And then this already has everything added to it, so there's no need to do anything. I'm gonna make a couple sample cocktails for the guests to try. And after we're done playing with you guys live, everyone can pick what their favorite is and continue. So I've got just the batch cocktail ice, and I'm gonna give it a quick agitation. Now, when I do this, I'm doing a couple things, and I talk about this all the time. I'm aerating it a little bit. I'm adding some water to it. The Corpse Survivor is strong. It's basically pure booze with just a little bit of lemon juice. So you want to definitely get it a nice long shake and get a little melted ice in there and water, so you're diluting it a little bit. Okay, so I've got a nice foam going on this, I can see. And now this happens to me.
the big challenge.
I know. Yeah, this happens to me, and I pulled the wrong shaker, so apologies. Okay. Technical difficulties.
It's live.
Stand by.
It's live, folks.
I just don't want to
This
break
is
the glass.
real life, yeah.
I just don't want to break the glass. It's the differential in temperature that does this. You've got two different materials. You've got the metal and the glass against each other. And as you agitate, you're chilling them both, and there's expansion and contraction, and I sound very sciencey right now. And I sure cannot get this open.
Wow.
Wow, this
It's a
is
tough
warm.
one this time.
Yeah.
That's the toughest I think
looks
we've
super
seen it.
agitated.
Are you agitated?
I seriously cannot get this open. Okay,
Uh-oh.
well,
Do we need Mark?
unless he wants to grab me another shaker that's over there. Otherwise, we're gonna have
looking.
to go on the fly a little bit.
Let me see if I can
Yeah,
get
see
it.
if you can. I just don't want you to break the glass.
Let Harvey try. Yeah, maybe
So
Harvey.
one time I had one of these shakers that's glass with a metal top, and I did just that, and I was shaking and shaking and shaking, and I couldn't get the top off, and I got it off, and the whole thing exploded on my arm and cut. I still have a
Oh my
really nice
gosh.
scar, and like literally, I thought I was going to be in the emergency room. So I'm really careful now. In fact, I should have pulled the two metals, not the glass. You can just leave it when it cools down. It'll go. I'll just.
It needs to heat up.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
So yeah, I have to be a little careful with that.
Science, kids.
Yeah.
Now she's more sciencey than I am.
Harvey's smarter than
Maybe
he
you
looks.
need to get in the shower and try to get it loose, Harvey. No! Don't get Harvey here. No,
Maybe
Harvey,
we'll move
no.
on to a different drink.
Okay.
No. So actually, what I'm going to do is there's not another shaker right there in the bar, is there? Two metal cups. We'll get another shaker, and I'll do it right this time.
This
Thank you,
happens on
perfect.
all the cooking shows. They just edit it out.
Yeah, but this is for real life here.
For real.
This is real life.
For reals, yeah.
All right, so we're going to do this again. I'm going to do it without the glass. And one of the fun things, so I got these little pitcher dispensers. They actually have little chalkboard sections on it, so you can write what the drink is for your guests, which is super cute. So as people do self-serve, they can see what they're getting, which is really fun. So the cups, I'm going to take these because they're probably a little easier. So I have a fun little garnish for this drink. I was walking through Trader Joe's, and I'm always try one new thing at Trader Joe's every time I go, because I think it's amazing. And they had these dehydrated lemon slices, which I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I'm just gonna do little sample sizes so everyone can taste it. And then, as I said, people can decide what they like to do a full cocktail with. So these are more of my Wilton fun. They're little knives, little butcher knives.
Here, hold it close here.
And so you can garnish by pushing actually the knife through little dehydrated lemon slices and garnish your cocktails this way. So it's a little silly, it's a little creepy, it's a little fun. We'll get to the hatchets later. Right now we'll start with the knives.
Alyssa says, hey, Stacia, I love the costume.
Thank you. I'm blonde.
Yeah.
So look, my inside thinking matches my outside today.
Do blondes have more fun? Or
I'll let you know later.
All right.
It's early. So Mickey, would you like to try one?
Harvey.
It's a little strong, Harvey. I'm not sure if I should be giving Harvey strong cocktails.
I don't know.
Good.
So we can't tell if we like them better that way or
hello,
not.
we have another guest. Would you like a cocktail?
Cheers,
Let
everyone.
me get this one open. This is going to drive me crazy. I'm going to keep on coming back to that. So the Corpse Survivor, as I said, it's a very strong cocktail. It's gin-based. Got a little bit of absinthe in it because I'm a big fan of the Green Fairy. And it's a popular New Orleans cocktail. So if you go to the Big Easy and you're on Bourbon Street, Corpse Survivor 2 is the one you want to order, not Corpse Survivor 1, because that's the one that tastes nasty. So that's our first cocktail.
All right, what was the verdict on that? Who tried
yeah,
it? Harvey,
there's
did you
very
try it?
strong.
There's
It
lots
was
of-
very
Yeah,
strong.
it's very strong.
Punching me in the back of my throat.
Somebody give me a sip.
Oh,
Do we have an extra cup? I
No,
want
I handed them
Just
all
give me
off, and I can't get this
And
open.
then I want to take a crack at that thing.
There's
Way
one
out.
behind you. Can you grab me one? Just a plastic one?
Yeah, but I need to read.
Oh, you have to mix it up.
Yeah.
Of course. Right, that whole drama. Forgot.
That whole time. I couldn't get it open. We'll give that to Mark. Maybe he'll be able to figure it out for us because it was a bridge too far for me. So. Oh, how did you?
So I get the first one.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
It's intense.
Yeah, this is like a high. Don't ignore me.
But you said you didn't add too much absinthe.
Well, but the absinthe isn't
just
the
like
alcohol strength. It's just a very strong taste.
It's just
for
like
it.
flavor.
Yeah, so the thing about absinthe is, and we talked about this in one of my sips episodes, we talked about the green
I can
fairy
taste
and
it, yeah.
everything. Yeah, absinthe has that anisey, licorice flavor.
Yeah.
So for some people, it's like cilantro, like you love it or you hate it. Now the funny thing is, I loathe black licorice. I think it's vile, but
Yeah.
I love absinthe, and I love Pernod, and I love fennel. So for me, there's a very distinct difference between all those flavors, but for some people, they read it all like a cilantro reverse person will read cilantro.
Yes.
So if you know you hate all things licorice with no exception, don't do anything with absinthe because that's what you're getting. It's that anisey flavor that's like licorice. But if you just have a hint of it, you shouldn't be tasting it overwhelmingly. You should
No.
just have like a little hint of it.
Yeah.
It gives like a very, I'm going to sound like a foodie jerk, that umami flavor, that like kind of, underlying layer
Jerk.
of something that you can't, I know, sorry. It's like an underlying layer of something you can't quite identify. You
Yeah.
shouldn't taste it like a kick in the face.
I can identify it because we've had absinthe on this show before.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were real absinthe drinks and they were very, very tasty. So I
Well,
can.
and I'm a fan of
flavor.
the absinthe. In fact, I happen to have far in the background, and we won't put him on camera, the person that may or may not, plausible deniability here, may or may not have found me a bottle of absinthe from London before it was legal to buy here in the States. And that is the absinthe I used in this tonight. I still have that bottle, and I slowly work my way through it. Now, you can buy absinthe here in the States now, obviously, and I've tried a couple other brands. If I'm doing something with quite a bit of absinthe, I buy, my beverage warehouse has a number of varieties. But when I have something with just a little taste of it, I enjoy using the London pre-ban absinthe because it's delightful. So that's my secret stash bottle that I don't often share, but it's special shine.
I'll take this.
See, I like these, but I like that kind of sour. It's kind of like that sour, almost bittery flavor. So, and it won't be for everyone. If you have a guest that loves really, really sweet drinks, this is not theirs. So next we're going to move on to my Big Skull. And my Big Skull is a really easy, guest-friendly cocktail that your friends that aren't very cocktail adventurous will like this. It's basically an apple thyme martini. So I like to use the bison grass vodka. It's actually, is it Polish? It's Zubrowska. And they have a piece of the bison grass in the bottle. I've got a bottle of it in the bar. It has almost like a vegetal herbal flavor to it. And flavor is probably too strong a word because vodkas are very neutral by definition. But you take the bison grass vodka and you mix it with apple juice, a little bit of fresh lemon juice, and then I do a thyme simple syrup. So I've talked about simple syrup many times before. It's just equal parts sugar and water simmered together until they're dissolved. And then you can infuse the simple syrup after you've turned it off the heat with an element. And I put fresh thyme in there. So it's apple juice, the bison grass vodka, thyme, simple syrup, and a little bit of fresh lemon juice that just gives a kick. This is pretty mild. I tend to, when I batch this up, amp up the quantity of the apple juice a ton. Like if I'm making martinis, it has far less apple juice and more vodka. But because this is for a crowd or what have you, you don't want to get everyone really, really, really plowed. And this is a good drink for people that might not be a corpse reviver person. So I'm going to get some ice in a couple glasses and let people taste. Okay. And this, actually, some of the fun things you can garnish this with is you can do slices of apple. You can do slices of lemon or orange. I'm going to start handing this off to anyone that wants to try. A lot of different citruses go very nicely with this. You can put a little sprig of fresh thyme in here if you like. It's a very versatile, easy, understandable drink for people that aren't big drinkers, or people that are. And for those friends of yours that say, I only like vodka, and I talk about this all the time, no they don't, they like other things, they just do it. This is their vodka. So, a little nod to my vodka snob people. I got a drink for you here.
Stacia, I remember you when we first did one of these. I said, "Oh, I don't like gin."
Yeah.
And you said, "Because you're not drinking the right one."
Well, that's
and then you gave me one, and it was delightful.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and I've done this back to back a couple times, where I've made the same. In fact, I did this for Mickey and Mark one time. I made the same martini, exact same martini back to back, and I did one with gin and one with vodka, and I handed them both, and they tried them, and they went, "Oh, I do like the gin martini." And it's just because a lot of people think of a couple of the basic gins as being the only gin that you have an option of. And the gin market has really opened up into some beautiful, beautiful varietals that are not what you thought of 10 years ago is what gin is. So I always encourage people to try a bottle, try something new, give it a shot. I'm a big gin fan. I'm a convert. A couple years ago, I really only drank vodka. So gin is a new friend of mine, but I love it. So
Yeah, one of our guests just said it tastes a little bit like apple pie.
it is that.
Like the apple crumb.
So one of the other,
I think that's it, yeah.
one of the other fall beverages I usually make either for my Halloween party or my Christmas party is Trader Joe's does these pre-batch spiced ciders. They used to do a pear cider that was out of this world and they stopped doing it. But they still do their pre-spiced batch apple cider. So it already has all those apple pie spices you're describing, those fall flavors. And with that one, I usually do rum and bourbon and those kind of flavors with it. Add a little orange juice or triple sec or Cointreau. That's another fantastic batch drink for a big crowd because your quantity of non-alcohol to alcohol is good. So you're not going to end up with your whole party under the table like you are with the corpse survivors if that's all you're serving. So that's a fun one. So
I think
that's a good
Kelly, Jane, and I are both confused as to why you don't want to slosh up your guests, because I think we're thinking about a different party than you are.
Well, let's just say I prefer them to work their way towards the slosh casually and slowly and enjoy the journey rather than jump off the cliff into drunken, incoherence and not even remember the rest of the party.
Break things. They break things and they spill.
Well,
things.
that's true. Actually, I have to say that I have had very little breaking things at my party. I don't think anyone's ever gotten sick in my house. I don't know what's happened after they've left. I actually stopped using traditional martini glasses because they tip over too easily, and so we would break them. Or it's like you're putting them in the sink to wash because you're doing multiple flavors, and they end up cracking with each other and stuff. So I have switched to the little coupe glasses that you guys see me using all the time because they're way more sturdy, so less breakage. But yes, KJ, you know me. I don't discourage imbibing and enjoying. I would just like the journey to be enjoyed rather than roofied on you. Okay, so what do we think of the apple thyme martini?
It's delicious.
It's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, that's more of a Jen drink because Jen's not a big like drink drinker. So
No, it's like, and please don't take this the wrong way. It's the wine cooler of cocktails.
Yeah,
if you're
that's not
like
a bad
hard
thing.
liquor,
Yeah.
but you want to be drinking a little bit of alcohol, it's like got a great flavor. It's punchy, it's sweet, but it's very tasty, and the alcohol isn't overwhelming in it. But you can still be enjoying your little buzz.
That's a great descriptive. And actually, I talked a little bit earlier about when you build a cheese plate, a cheese tray, you want to have a variety of hard and soft cheeses, a variety of cheeses, maybe a Stilton with a little fruit or something very salty, or a goat cheese. Same thing when you have a mixture of cocktails, right? If you're having a party, I always have beer, wine, bubbly of some kind. I always have Prosecco because I'm a big, huge bubbly fan. And sodas, soft drinks, water. But when you're thinking about, nice! See?
Party is started!
It helps to have the right friends.
You guys, that was Harvey. Ignore him.
Clean up on aisle 5. That's one of my favorite noises in life, is the happy.
It is
part.
it is a happy noise.
So, but build your cocktail collection and think of that, because you're not, all your guests aren't going to be the same. So you're going to have the wine cooler guests, and we're going to use that as a term, and it's not derogatory.
Right.
It's like somebody that isn't a big drinker, but they want to have like a little bit of a celebratory thing, and they may not be a beer drinker. So it's like, I don't really want wine. I want to be fun and have a cocktail, and something like the vodka based with the apple juice is very user-friendly for somebody that isn't a big drinker. So we've got an easy drink that's understandable to every cocktail palate. We've got something a little bolder, a little stronger, a little more in your face for somebody that is a cocktail person or likes to go a little harder at it. And then we have one of my favorite things in the party this year.
I can't wait to see
okay. And then don't let me forget the tray of jello shots over there.
Oh,
because that'll be
yes.
next. So I've always wanted to do for my Halloween parties like a cauldron of witch's brew with the dry ice. But full disclosure, okay, so I had some lovely people today who helped me last minute because my week was a little sidetracked. But I'm usually doing most of this by myself. So I run out of time, just candidly. And in fact, it's not unusual for me to text people. I did it tonight twice. Can you bring some ice with you? Because I don't have time at the end of the day to run out a bunch of errands or do this or that. So I said, forget the dry ice idea. I think it's lovely, but unless I had like winged monkeys like Martha Stewart does that, you know, are minions that are, you know, doing all your things for you, I just don't have time. So I'm like, what else can I do that's fun and Halloween-y and creepy but not gross? And so I get on Amazon, and I'm an Amazon Prime junkie, and I'm like looking and looking. I find these. Okay, these are not medical, just so I clarify. These are blood bags, but they're made for drinks. So what you do is you fill the blood bag with a syringe, which I've got somewhere over there, and then you clip the little clip on so it doesn't come out of the straw, and you unclip this and you actually drink out of the straw of the blood bags, and they came with the little labels of the blood and the blood types and everything. And this is like my new favorite thing. So you guys may see this at Christmas. I may make a holiday blood bag. I may just do like, I don't know. Anyway, so I thought it would be fun to do in these blood bags, obviously a red cocktail, but I'm not a fan of sugary, syrupy, colored things just because of the color. So I happen to have in my freezer some fresh, well, frozen now, but it was freshly squeezed blood orange juice. And so I found a recipe online. It was kind of a hybrid of a couple different recipes I saw, and it's fresh blood orange juice, and it's bourbon. It's a little bit of pomegranate juice to add the color, or you can also do a little bit of grenadine, because basically you're just trying to deepen the color to make it more red. And lemonade, pomegranate juice, bourbon, and blood orange juice. That's it. I also added a splash of fresh lemon juice. I often think that citrus, especially lemon, acts in your cocktail a little bit like salt acts in your food. You don't need a lot of it, but it does punch up the flavor. So if you're batching a drink and you taste it, and you have to do that. So yeah, sometimes I'll throw a party and I'll be batching drinks and tasting them at 9 a.m. That's weird. Don't drive after that. If you're like, it's good, but it's missing something, throw in a tiny bit of lemon juice and mix it back up and try, or lime juice, depending on your flavor profile. And you'll find it brightens up all the flavors in a really wonderful way. So always have some citrus on hand. I actually buy the pre-squeezed stuff a lot, and I know that's anathema to a lot of like real bartenders. But the reality is I'm not gonna stand here and squeeze 50 lemons. So if I have it on hand, I can use it at will, and I know I always have it, and I think that's the best. So this is I called them transfusions. That's what I named this drink. And this is super fun. I'm going to hand them out to you guys.
Oh, I want.
So what you do is you unhook the little straw thing, and then you can either take it off or put it in.
I've been desperate to try this since.
Are you A positive?
I don't think so.
You don't know your blood type?
No, I'm universal.
A lot of
donor.
people don't.
How do you not know your blood type?
I'm O positive.
Okay, we got that.
All right.
Is that the one that everyone wants?
I'm grenadine.
Everybody wants
Here,
me.
this is yours.
Oh,
This
that
is
one?
good.
Okay.
So this is
You
my
guys-
favorite cocktail of the night, and I'm seriously going to be using these in other things. So, does anyone want a blood bag? grab a blood bag. I think I just so
Yeah.
I'll give you a cookie.
Yeah, we get orange juice.
You get a cookie and orange juice. I'll give you a sticker I donated. So yeah, I just like to find at least one fun, quirky item for each of my parties that your guest kind of goes, oh, where'd you get that? So I don't think you'll go to a lot of parties with this, but it's super fun. So anyway, and it's a delicious cocktail too. We were trying it.
Oh, it's good.
Now, yeah, we tried it earlier over ice from a pitcher that I made. And we also tried it first plain, and then we threw a little bit of Prosecco over it just to see what that would do. And that got mixed reviews. So I liked it. I actually thought it might be better with like a club soda than a Prosecco, because for some reason the Prosecco gave a little bit too much flavor to what the cocktail already was. But don't be afraid to add a little bit of bubbly to this of your favorite variety. I'm going to keep on passing out blood bags. These are just ridiculously fun. I'm sorry.
I'm going to send my kids to school with these things.
It's a grown-up juice bag. Yeah, it's like a grown-up juice box. So, yes. So that's my transfusion cocktail. So these are our 3 signature cocktails for tonight. And then it's not really a Stacia party if we don't have the following. So I'm going to walk across and bring this. So I showed these on my Instagram feed.
Shot.
Now, these, okay, so I made these a couple days ago, so the colors have blended. They actually were originally 3 different layers of jello shot that looked like a candy corn. So there was an orange, a yellow, and a white. But the problem is if you make these ahead of time, the colors start bleeding into each other. So if you're going to do these, do them just the day before the party or 2 days before at max. Don't do them well in advance. Otherwise, you'll get this like amorphous little orangey blob, which still tastes delicious, but it doesn't look very candy corny. So I did 2 different versions of it, and don't ask me which is which because I put them in Ziploc bags, so I can't tell the difference. I did a tropical version that has a mango jello, a pineapple jello, and then like an orange or citrus jello. And then I did an all citrus version, which is orange, lemon, and some other citrus. So you can use the unflavored gelatin for the white layer, and you're just going to use something like a triple sec or something that doesn't have any color in it as your alcohol component. Now, one of my favorite things to do with jello shots is add Pop Rocks. I started doing this for football games years ago, and everyone went crazy. They're just super fun, and as you take the jello out in your mouth, the Pop Rocks like start going off. So it's like a little party in your mouth. That sounds really inappropriate, but I have Harvey Weinstein here, so
exactly what it is. It's a party in your
Give me a
mouth.
massage.
So it's just super fun. I once so I do jello shots of some version for all the USC home games. And in fact, last year I was dubbed the Heisenberg of jello shots because I go like hardcore. I do the unflavored jello, and I'll do like a gin and tonic jello shot with a real slice of lime on it. Or like I'll do like hardcore cocktails. I don't always use the flavored jellos. Often I'll use the unflavored stuff. But sometimes it's just fun to go for it. And I like to do, I like to bring the Pop Rocks. You can hear them going off. So I'm gonna start passing these. You can, they're doing their little thing.
Oh my God, they're really popping.
Yeah.
They are.
You got the barrister in the back.
I think Harvey should do it first, so he dies.
I'm giving it I'm hooking Harvey up. Harvey's doesn't have Pop Rocks though. It's got something else.
She's my cocaine.
So, and one little trick, I don't know if you guys, Pop Rocks aren't the most genteel ladylike thing to eat, but this is my little secret trick. You take the lid and you loosen it up, and then you can.
It's literally a party.
So good. So fun.
For those of you who, if you can get the audio, for those of you
You can
who,
hear it.
For the Angelinos out there, this is what rain sounds like.
What's that? What's that?
Our own rain in our own
Where does
heads.
rain come from?
So, the Jello shots are always a fun little addition.
It adds a lot of texture.
It does.
The Pop Rocks.
Yeah. And you can buy all different flavors. If you're having trouble finding Jello shots, Smart and Final carries 2 or 3 flavors, and that's it. But Amazon, I actually found on Amazon Prime last year for Christmas, because I did Christmas Jello shots, peppermint flavor, and I found chocolate. Now the chocolate I was not impressed by. It just didn't taste like much of anything. We tried it on a dessert. Yeah, Kira's like, yeah, I remember that. Yep. But the peppermint was really interesting, and you could do like a white hot chocolate flavor or jello shot or something like that with a peppermint, and that would be really nice. But I can usually find grape, strawberry, sometimes one more flavor. Anyway, but it's fabulous. That's one of my favorite little things for a party. So now, just so you know, these aren't super strong. So if you make a jello shot, you follow the instructions for your package of jello, but no more than 50% alcohol to other liquid, otherwise it won't gel. So you can make it a little weaker than that if you like.
That's important to know.
No, it's very important. To know. Yeah, so I learned that when I first started making jello shots.
You can't top it off with alcohol.
No, like seriously, and what you do is like you simmer, you have to boil half of the liquid to dissolve the jello powder in or the gelatin sheets in or whatever you're using. So you want to choose your non-alcohol liquid element to do that with, and then you want to mix in your liquid. Now, if you want to make, I do champagne jello shots. That's one of my favorite ones. And I actually will do all champagne or all Prosecco, but I'll boil down half of it. So it's still half strength alcohol because you're boiling the alcohol out of the first half. So yeah, that's the trick to jello shots. These little cups and lids come from Smart and Final. You can order them on Amazon, but they're like my favorite place to get it. Super easy.
So
anyway,
can you talk a little bit about, just before you have to go?
Yes.
Like, you have amazing Halloween decorations here.
Oh!
If you have some artwork from some artists.
I do, actually.
You can put that out. And also, can you tell us, where do you find all this cool stuff? How can I'm on a budget. How can I afford some of this?
Okay, so most of my Halloween decorations, and we'll be posting a bunch on Instagram and Phantom Sway and the Soirée Facebook page and Instagram page as well. Most of this comes from the 99-cent store. They have wonderful decorations. Not that. Okay, so what Jen is showing right now, that's my brainchild artist, Wendy Ray Lamont. Her things are amazing. She happens to be a darling friend of most of ours. That was a hostess gift when she spent that magical Halloween with me a few years ago.
Yes.
She shows up with that, and I'm like, wait, you made me Halloween art for a hostess gift. So that's awesome. That's my favorite Halloween decoration. Yeah. So Wendy makes incredible Halloween decorations. One of these years, I want to make her come out here and do my house for Halloween because her place, she's like the gold standard of Halloween.
Halloween is her Christmas.
Yeah, she's like I call her the queen of Halloween. She's amazing. So I get 99-cent store stuff. I do basic colors, and then I mix in little elements. Like all these crows are from the 99-cent store. The glasses,
really?
Yeah. But I've acquired them over the past couple years, right?
Oh my God,
yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
No,
actually.
these, like if you see my little frames here.
Yeah.
So this is a balsa wood frame for 99 cents. I glittered it with black glitter, and I bought vampire teeth at the 99 cents and put nail polish on them. So they're just little vampires on the wall. It cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It cost me like $8. And I can reuse them again the next year, or I'll probably put pictures behind them, like put something else behind them next year. The crow is from Amy Hulse. She's a wonderful photographer, another friend of ours. She painted that for me a couple years ago, and I just thought it was really beautiful. She's super talented. Yeah, so my place is kind of a mixture of 99 cents for all these pumpkins, all these silver and black pumpkins, all the little silver gourds. This is all 99-cent store. All the little spider web cake stands. The silver stuff is mine, but the other stuff a lot of the stuff is super inexpensive. And if you can fit your decor for a holiday into one like Target plastic tub, then it's storable. Look, I have a really small space, and I managed to hold all this crap all year. So pick your elements, pick your color elements, pick things that you can use in multiple holidays, which is why I usually stick with like a couple neutral colors and some metallics. And then just blend in your other elements. But hit the 99-cent store, and then if you buy a few things and you only use it 1 year, you don't feel bad.
You go to the 99-cent store for Christmas?
Oh my gosh, I go for everything. No, they have the best gift wrap. They have one of my 99-cent stores has produce. Like it'll have a full-on produce section with like eggs and strawberries and asparagus and blackberries and like good produce. Sometimes out of season they'll have things that I can't get in the grocery store. They'll have a whole bag of key limes or really glorious pineapple or something. So Don't be afraid to. Target's great too. I just feel like Target, you see the same stuff as everybody else has. So try the 99-cent stores. Try the, the little, they're not 99-cent stores, but they're like your little local markets the stuff is super cheap. I picked up a couple skulls that light up in Florence when I was there a couple years ago, and I got them back and managed not to break them. So it's like I mix all the inexpensive stuff with a couple special things that I have acquired over the years, and play with it. And don't worry. But here's my other go-to for Halloween: tulle, black tulle. So you're gonna buy black netting, and you can buy it by the bolt, and you can buy it on Amazon or any fabric store or anything. And what I do is I usually buy some of these plastic roll tablecloths, and I layer tulle or netting or whatever over it because it makes everything look spooky, and especially if you're layering some lights underneath it. It's super inexpensive. You can roll it down and store it really easily, or you can just throw it away if it gets kind of shreddy. So yeah, I'm really, very little of what you see at my parties is expensive. The most expensive things you see at my parties is sometimes I have my collection of like silver that I buy at estate sales. Again, I don't spend a lot of money on it. But most of the things, it's just like I pick it up here and there. Get creative, and don't feel like there's rules of like, oh, you got to spend all this money on this. No, it's like your time and money should go into what your enjoyment's going to be. So to me, it's like I'd rather spend more money on the food, the booze, making sure the guests are going to have a good time, and then just setting the mood. So anyway, thank you for joining us tonight for the Soirée Spooky Facebook Live for Halloween. And hopefully you've gotten some good ideas for your Halloween party, because Tuesday, right? Tuesday's Halloween?
Tuesday.
So there's still a little bit of time left, and maybe you'll make some Jello shots with Pop Rocks. Hit up Smart and Final for the Pop Rocks.
Get some blood bags.
Get some blood bags.
Yeah.
Amazon has them. You'll have to do overnight shipping at this point, but they are on Amazon. They're food safe. These are not medical grade. I'm sure you can buy those too, but that's a little creepy. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We've loved having everything. Thank you for my guests for coming. We will see you hopefully next month for another Soirée Facebook Live.
Yay!
Happy Halloween.